Alright, this is going to be a quick Depth 24 Vana guide. I'm going to be covering the optimal way to play Adept, and also a suboptimal strategy in the last arena, explaining why exactly it is better or worse. So what you want to do first is activate your Dracon boost if you're using Dracon, and go between the wheels, using the one tile gap that's in between each of them, which I can't really explain too well, you'll just get a feel for it as you play more. We're going to be speedrunning this depth because depth 24 at most gives you 1000 crowns. Half of that would be within the last arena itself. So genuinely, it's just not worth your time to do the full depth. Just loot the last room and you'll be getting more worth of your time. My general advice is to start with the middle thing here so that you don't have slags covering it up. Because if the slags are too close to it, it just displaces the statue placement. It doesn't snap to the pressure plate. And it just gets a bit annoying having to knock them back and then others crowd up on you, etc. In this part, you want to use your kiting gun of choice, and if you want to get close like I do, like I'm used to, you can use your combustor. Shield bomb slags away. Use your dash in between spike timings. And what you can do over here, if the spikes are up like that, you can fit between the wheel over here. Then Dracon boost again, if you're using Dracon, and fit between here. Use your vortex before the party button, and place it here, then go upward. Notice how this pulls in both the slags and the slimes. And you want to keep the top half of this free of any loot. If there's loot here, it would mess up your strat on the last wave. And then you vortex these slags. Keep one low health. This one should do. Use your vortex. You want the explosion of the vortex to kill it while you prepare your blitz charge. Go over here. Your aim should be diagonal, hitting where your tip of your blitz needle is, pointing to the Trojan's crystal on their back. And that way the explosions register such that it's hitting both of the Trojans. And then you can safely kill these and go onwards. These boxes are optional for you to loot. If you're someone like me who has too many shining crystals, too many eternal orbs, then these might not be relevant for you, since they only drop those two. If you do need them, feel free to loot them though. And let me just quit Expedition. So you see, I got nearly 500 crowns from just doing the final arena of this. If you do the entire depth of it, you'll only get 1000 anyway, which takes much longer, so it's not worth your time. The second strat that I want to show is related to vortex timings and Trojan kills on the last arena, of how you can do it wrong and why you should be doing it how I showed you first. So we'll have another quick run of this. Also, another thing to note is when you're along this path, you can Arcana shoot over here. Even Argent Peacemaker works with, so that the bullets align on the side of the wheel launcher. So you don't have to melee them with your combustor. If you're doing depth 24 for heating purposes, you could technically use your vortex to kill these slags really quick when they're grouped. Like so. Pick up a little bit of heat and use that for heating weapons. Generally, if you're playing solo, you could do depth 24 on repeat to heat up a 3-star weapon so that you could craft it to 4-star quickly. And around level 4-ish to 5 heating, you might need a little more heat on the stepped. But generally, I do not recommend killing enemies here. Outside of that case, it's not worth your time. And I am very low on health. So the second thing I wanted to show here is some people tend to use their vortex before the button. What this does is it pulls in the slags, but you don't get the slimes in until the end of the vortex duration. So it makes it so that they can attack you freely like that and be annoying. Because your charge attack will not be staggering them. And the second thing I wanted to show is what happens if you do have loot on the top side of the arena. So let's just push these around. This also shows what happens if you don't get your double kill on the Trojan. Let's say you wanted to start with these. Notice how, firstly, the Trojan spawns were displaced. That's because enemies can't spawn on top of loot. So when you have loot where an enemy is supposed to spawn, they won't spawn in the right location. And then you have to struggle to kill the Trojans. And this time around I got lucky, but beginner players might struggle a bit to kill them easily and predict their dashes. So yeah, that's mostly all you need to know on depth 24 of Vana. And yeah, you should be seeing guides on the remaining depths soon enough.